It took less than 5 minutes for what began as a routine traffic violation to escalate into a fatal gunshot. Patrick Lyoya was born in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, a nation fractured by decades of brutal conflict. To escape the constant threat of violence, his family fled the country. After spending half his life living in a bamboo house inside a Malawian refugee camp, Patrick and his family were finally granted asylum in 2014. They resettled in Grand Rapids, Michigan, seeking a quiet, secure life. The American city they believed would be their permanent sanctuary instead became the place where the 26-year-old was executed in the street. At 8:11 a.m. on April 4, 2022, Grand Rapids police officer Christopher Schur initiated a traffic stop. The reason for the stop involved no violence and no suspected weapons. The license plate on Patrick's sedan simply did not match the vehicle's registration. When Patrick stepped out of his car, he appeared confused. He did not speak English fluently, and instead of remaining in the vehicle or producing a driver's license, he repeatedly asked the officer what he had done wrong. Communication broke down immediately, and Patrick slowly walked toward the front of his car, distancing himself from the officer. When Schur grabbed his arm, Patrick pulled free and began to run. An administrative discrepancy over a license plate instantly morphed into a high-stakes physical pursuit. Officer Schur caught up to Patrick in a nearby yard, tackling him to the grass and triggering a frantic 90-second physical struggle. Throughout the altercation, Patrick continuously twisted, pulled, and pushed to escape the officer's grip. However, video evidence confirms he never threw a punch, kicked, or attempted an offensive strike against the officer. The threat level escalated rapidly when Officer Schur drew his taser. Seeing the weapon, Patrick reached out and grabbed the barrel to push it away from his own body. As the two men wrestled for control of the device, the taser discharged its 2 cartridges directly into the dirt. With both prongs fired, the stun gun was rendered largely ineffective. The struggle eventually forced Patrick entirely face down into the grass. Officer Schur repositioned his full body weight, kneeling heavily on Patrick's back. While pinning Patrick to the ground, Officer Schur reached for his service pistol, pressed the muzzle directly against the back of Patrick's head, and pulled the trigger. The officer deployed absolute lethal force against an unarmed man who was securely pinned face down in the dirt. Fast forward to the spring of 2025, Officer Schur stood trial for second-degree murder. The prosecution's case rested heavily on clear, unobstructed body cam and civilian cell phone video capturing the entire encounter. The defense countered by leaning on legal standards built specifically to protect law enforcement. They argued the officer was physically exhausted from the fight and was forced to make a split-second life-or-death calculation. Schur's attorneys invoked self-defense and the fleeing felon rule, effectively using Patrick's physical resistance as the legal justification for the officer's lethal fear. By resisting arrest, the defense argued, Patrick made his own killing legally permissible. This chart shows the final breakdown of the jury. After days of deliberation, they deadlocked. 10 jurors voted not guilty, 2 voted guilty. The judge declared a mistrial. Instead of retrying the officer, the prosecutor dropped the case entirely, allowing him to walk completely free. The legal system's built-in protections for law enforcement effectively neutralized objective video evidence, making a murder conviction legally impossible. Before this shooting, the Grand Rapids Police Department already faced dozens of complaints regarding racial discrimination and excessive force. The decision to drop Schur's charges after a mistrial follows this documented pattern of local legal protections shielding officers from conviction. The killing and subsequent trials sparked massive public outcry in Grand Rapids, with citizens marching in the streets to demand police reform and an end to systemic brutality. Patrick's family was left completely devastated. His father publicly expressed his heartbreak, stating that they had fled violence in Africa, only to witness the exact same horrors at the hands of police in America. Organizations like the ACLU pointed to the killing as a symptom of deeply flawed policing practices, routine tactics that consistently escalate into the disproportionate deaths of Black men. Achieving justice depends on dismantling the systemic rules of engagement that allow minor traffic stops to end in legalized lethal force. The objective facts of April 4 remain entirely undisputed. A mismatched license plate, a confused driver, a physical struggle without a single offensive strike, and a final gunshot into the back of a pinned man's head. Patrick Lyoya's death is absolute and permanent, while the officer who pulled the trigger has been cleared of all criminal liability. If clear, objective video of an unarmed man being executed on the ground cannot secure a conviction, who is the legal system actually designed to protect?